Hey guys, John here from Nintex. So I've got this bot flow that I put together. It's set up to generate a bunch of random addresses. So what we'll do here, just really quickly, just going to run this through so we can kind of see the output. Should not take very long at all. There we go. And let's take a look at a bunch of these random addresses that we have. So I kind of broke it down here, and in reality, what it's doing is it's picking random street number, prefix, name, suffixes, random cities, states, and zips in there as well, and then just kind of mashing them all together to make that full address. It's not going to be real addresses. Yeah, I don't think West Knoll Grove is a real street in Montgomery. But these should come in handy, if you ever need to um, get some like test data or something like that. Just really good samples, and it's not just going to be limited to randomized addresses either. So let's break down what the bot flow is actually doing really quick. So we'll see here. We've got basically a loop 25 times, so that's driving how many addresses to generate. So in that Excel sheet, there's only 25 of those. And then most of this is happening basically powered by random numbers. So the first one here is going to be generating a random street number. Pretty straightforward, just a random number 1 through 99,000 to 100,000 basically. And that'll just give that random number in there, and that'll be the street number. And then basically the rest of this is going to be driven by lists. So I've got a few different lists here. The first one here is this prefix list. So if we take a look at that, so I've just got 9 rows here in this list. First 4 are north, south, east, and west, and then the rest are blank. And what that set variable action is doing here, if we just kind of break this down, it's going to set that street prefix variable and set it to the value of a list lookup. Inside of this list lookup token, this long one here, we've got this random number 1 through 9. It's looking in the item number column, and it's picking the prefix from that row. So basically, if we look at this item number, we have 1 through 9. And I picked 9 just because that was a quick number. In reality, we can kind of adjust this based on what you actually want. So it's going to pick one of these numbers, and then let's say it picks 7, right? So it'll pick 7. It will look at that row and then pick the value from the prefix column for that row. That's basically how list lookups work. So in this case, I excuse me, I have a bunch of blank values, just because in reality, not every street is going to have a north, south, east, or west on it. And I kind of have more of these blank values than I do these other ones in there as well, just because the majority of them are not going to be having that prefix there. So generate that prefix. This time I got a blank one. And we're going to use that same kind of concept for the street name, the city, and the suffix. So you'll see these other lists are a lot longer. And that's just to give it some variety. I just found a bunch of lists. I looked up some lists on the internet and copy and pasted them in here, basically, and that's all this is doing. So I think this is like the most common street names in the United States, something like that. And just put this into a list here. We ended up with 281 items. Except this one is a little more complicated, right? So because it's 281, it doesn't fit nicely into one of the random number tokens that are provided. So what I've got to do is first figure out how many items are in that list. So in this case, it's 281. It will pick a random number between a certain range. So in this case, I did between 1 and 999, just because that fits best with the number of items that I have in that list currently. If you had more than 1,000, you would use a different one of those tokens. And then what it'll do then is check to make sure that that number fits between it'll make sure that number is lower than the maximum from that list. So in this case, is 290 lower than or less than 281? Or excuse me, the opposite. So is 290 greater than 281? If that's true, then basically it's going to go back to this label here, and then basically pick another number. And as I step through this, you'll see it's just going to keep trying and trying and trying until it eventually picks one. So there we go, 167. It's less than 281, and then it will continue on. It will pick that street name based on that random number that it generated, and then it will move on to the suffix. So the suffix is like street, avenue, boulevard, things like that. Same idea here. There's 218 items in that suffix list. Again, just found a list of I think I went to the USPS site, found a list of all these suffixes. Again, things like drive, street, avenue. I just wanted to be thorough. This could of course be a lot shorter, but I like to be thorough when I do things. So there's that. And again, same idea. It'll pick a random number, check to make sure that the number is within the acceptable range, and then basically keep trying until it is. So we'll see. I'm not getting very lucky this time. There we go. So 173. It'll set that suffix to southeast, and then it will combine that number, the name, and the suffix there. All right. And then, again, same idea for the cities and states, city-state zip. So in this case, this was a little bit different. It's going to pick a random number and then use that same number for all three of these, just to be a little more accurate. I know some applications kind of check the zip code and make sure it matches the city and state. Basically, so I picked a list of about 100. I picked a list of 99 different things. City, state, zip combinations, put them together, and same idea again. Just keep trying until it finds an acceptable number. Find the city, pick the state. Oh, I need to adjust those notes in there. Actually, let me just do that right now before I forget. There we go. Let's save that. So it'll pick the city, state, and zip. Then it will combine them together. So we got Moreno Valley, California, 92551. And then it will ultimately then combine that with that street address there. After it's done that, it'll just output everything into a log. We're just outputting it to a CSV, and then it'll loop around, clear everything out, try again. So quick explanation, quick breakdown on that. You could, of course, adjust this. This is obviously catered for US addresses, right? Europe addresses, Australian, Asian, African addresses, they're all going to be differently formatted. I'm not super familiar with those, of course, so I did something that I'm familiar with here, but you can take this kind of concept and adjust and tweak it as you need to, of course, as well. All right. So look out for this on the template gallery, the process accelerator gallery. I'm going to be posting up there soon, so you guys can download this exact bot flow and tweak it and play with it as you like. Thanks.